we had a kidnapping in Igweben train station. It wasn't just a kidnapping, it was a few armed men shooting sporadically into the air, and they kidnapped 31 people. One person, luckily for us, escaped, and they kidnapped many. The police swung into action immediately with collaboration from the state vigilante network and local hunters. They started combing the bushes and going around the vicinity. The kidnappers, most of them, it came by vehicle, and as they kidnapped the 31 people, some went by footpath into the bushes and scattered themselves around that area. This morning, the state deputy governor visited the scene of the crime to have an on-the-spot assessment of what had happened. And we are pleased to say that while we were waiting to begin this press conference, we got a report that the suspect has been arrested, one of the suspects arrested. And I think it's very good news that it's helping police and the security agencies with their investigation right now. We hope this is the last time we'll have such daring people invading government infrastructure, especially train stations across the country, and especially here in Edo State, because our security network is very tight and very swift in their reactions to these sort of incidences. We hope it doesn't happen again, and we condole, of course, with the family of the victims so far, and we will give all necessary support to the necessary security agencies, the police, the army, and our local vigilante network, and the hunters who are on the trail of these evildoers. Those people that spoke to the press on that day of the protest by section of the pensioners, I think we should all let everybody know that they were politically instigated and motivated for a purpose, which was the following day, the APC rally that was coming up. They were instigated by those people who are the cause of the problem of their gratuities not being paid. Edo State government, under the leadership of Governor Baseki, has paid their pensions, or paid pensions, all the arrears of pensions, both those inherited and those under its government, are being paid up to date. There is no pensioner today that is being owed pension. On the issue of gratuity, even those who retired after 2016, that is when this government came into operation, their gratuities are being paid and have been paid. The gratuity arrears we're having problems with are those that retired under the leadership of Governor Adams Oshomole, whose reckless government is the one that created this problem that we inherited, and we are trying very much as possible to sort out. We have been having engagements with the pensioners on the payment of their gratuities. And just last year, the Edo State government paid out 1 billion naira as gratuities to pensioners. Those people that were on television to say no gratuity has been paid, I think they were being clever by half. That is not true. Gratuities of lots of these people have been paid by the state government. Last year, close to 1 billion naira was paid, and this year we budgeted another 1 billion for the payment of gratuities to our senior citizens. But because they are not working in such a way to have their gratuity paid, look at the timing of their protest. The 2023 budget came into effect on January 1st. We had not even started work when they started complaining about their gratuity not being paid. But we all know that the APC was going to have a rally in Edo State 24 hours after that rally. And we all know, we saw those on television talking about gratuities not being paid since 2011. And I'm glad to say in 2011, their leader, Adams Oshomole, was in government. In 2012, Adams Oshomole was in government. In 2013, Adams Oshomole was in government. In 2014, Adams Oshomole was in government. In 2015, Adams Oshomole was in government. In 2016, Obaseki took over in November 12, 2016. And of all the pensioners you saw there, I'm sure you can confirm this, Not one of them retired after 2016 or 2017. All these people, all those people that spoke, were those that retired under the leadership of Adams Oshiomhole, that he refused bluntly to pay their pensions, but they allowed themselves to be used by the Oshiomhole in an attempt to embarrass this government. But unfortunately, they have failed because we have gotten validation from many, many experts across the world of how we have managed to sort out our pensions and even gratuities here in Edo State, even they have believed of very lame resources. From our investigations, we also discovered that they are doing this because they do not want the young and expand our growing young workforce. We have a process whereby we have to manage the resources we have. We want to have a slim, strong, well-educated workforce. And the beneficiaries of this system are the younger people of today. We've migrated them into a contributory pension scheme that takes care of their gratuities and their pensions when they're about to retire, and they are enjoying it. But these older people who are being used by the person responsible for their gratuity not being paid are crying foul and trying to embarrass the government. Pensions have been taken care of, and they are leaders of this group. Some of them engage with us, and they know the processes we are going through, and they know how we've been paying this. So we just want people to know that they were being clever by half. They were not telling the truth when they said no gratuity has been paid since 2011. That is not true. We have started paying the arrears, and we budgeted another 1 billion for the arrears of gratuities being owed. I expect the journalists to be able to go out to find out some of these people that have received these gratuities in the last one year, at least in 2022. So I can put a line to the information some of these our senior citizens gave out during their protest a few days ago. Those that have received the gratuities, they are humans. They still live. They live amongst us. We know who they are. I'm sure if you go to the Bureau of Pensions, you will see their names of those who have received their gratuities in the last 1 year. Not previously, at least in the last 1 year, I can guarantee that. So every year, every month, the Edo State government budgets 100 million for payment of gratuities. And they've done the same thing again this year. For this year, we budgeted 15.1 billion to pay pensions and gratuities in the 2023 budget. But they don't want to give us time to implement that because they're rioting even before work starts. And then the motive is clear to all Edo people. We are paying gratuities, and there's an arrears which we inherited. At least they confirmed that it is from 2012 and not once under this government. I think they should point finger at the man who has sent them to go to the streets. That doesn't show them, because some of those faces we know they are members of the APC under the command and control of Adams Oshiomhole and a former commissioner in this state, Congo's commissioner for, I think, environment. Yes, I think Mr. Clem Agbawi is now a minister of state for budget and planning. He's supervising over a ministry that has ruined Nigeria's currency, that has given us the highest unemployment rate ever, given us the highest inflation ever, and given us the largest debt profile the country has ever witnessed. This is the same minister that, as a commissioner for environment, he failed woefully in his attempt to create the stormwater project. Still woefully, because that thing was riddled with fraud. And if you compare what they did then with what we are doing now with the water receptacles across the city, you will discover that the 25 to 50 billion they borrowed was just siphoned for their own personal gains. And I also found it very curious when he gave an interview that we are commissioning projects they already commissioned, and he had the audacity to talk about the street lights. The street lights which they did and powered with generators, and they also did using fake substandard cables. Edo State was very lucky that those cables did not catch fire or kill any of our citizens, because we had to remove all the cables they laid across for the street lights to put new ones that are standard, that will be able to withstand the electricity which is being powered today. So when a minister of state is rewarded, after filling as a commissioner here, is rewarded to go to the national and then failing there again, because today the economy of Nigeria is worse off than it was before he became a minister. So I think we should call these people, we'll always call them out, so that whenever they speak, we should question them. Those cables, he is aware that they were fake. He is aware that they nearly caught fire and killed those state citizens. But thank God, we were able to nip it in the bud by removing the cables. We are building a 200-kilometer Operation Light Up Edo, and there's no way we could have used the cables which they used. We are still using the same contractors they did, but without the shenanigans which they introduced into the contracting system. They cut corners, they use cheap materials, they request for 10 mm, they use 2 mm, request for 50 mm, they use 5 mm, and putting Edo people's life at risk. We had to cut all this off and put proper cables in place. That is why today Edo people are enjoying the streetlights. The fact that we do not want to probe or have not probed their government doesn't mean we don't have enough to probe them on. But they should no longer come here to speak ill of what the government is doing. And that brings me to the issue of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with his loop of bondage, which he has used to capture some APC people. You know that thing on his head is a loop of bondage, in case you are not aware. That's what it is. He came to Edo State, and all he could say to Edo people is that our youths are Yahoo boys. He did not acknowledge that our youths are one of the most intelligent, the most beautiful, the well-trained people of Nigeria. He did not acknowledge any of those, but instead he talked about the Yahoo. We have to call these people out, because presidency is a serious affair. We want strong, healthy, and people that their senses are still in place to rule Nigeria. At the same time, we do not want lieutenants around him that have failed, firstly as commissioners and now as ministers, or even some others that as governors they failed, and as national chairmen of parties they also failed. We want people that can unite this country and also push forward our agenda of a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria.